This is Dave Bazar, and I'm here with Russell Harris.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Mike couldn't be with us, so we brought in our guest speaker, Russell Harris. We're here to talk about June's position report. Came out this morning, and fantastic news once again. So, Russell, let me run through the numbers real quick, and then maybe we can start discussing it.
Okay.
Shipments for the month were up 26%. This is almost the last one for the marketing year. We've got one more in July. Year to date, that inches our number up to 22%.
That's amazing, actually. Huh?
It really has been, because that's coming off of a record year before.
22%, that's average throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Year to date. I'm rounding the numbers off, but they're close.
It just shows you cheap nuts what they do.
Absolutely. If you look forward, I think we're on track to ship almost 2.9 billion. So the coming month, I think, is 185 was last year. We'll easily should beat that. So what does that 2.9 mean? It means our carry-in's going to be somewhere around 600 to 650.
That's good. We were estimating, what, 700 million before?
800 at one point.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, it's just continued to improve.
If we didn't have COVID, it might have been a lot more.
Oh, there's so many things. Logistics, all those things you can start to hammer away on how it could have been. Sales, so they track the sales that were made during the month of June, sort of a prediction of what's coming. Those were up compared to the previous year. So, again, July should be a good number. If I start to break down that, where did all those numbers go? Our domestic market, which really has been underperforming, was good this year, or good this month. It was up, I think, 7%. It wasn't a new record, so it's sort of lagging behind. I think it's still running about 4% year to date, so that's way behind the 22. But it is starting to show some better numbers. The big one was Europe. Europe was up dramatically for the month, so it was the one that showed up. India was down, but it has been dramatically up for the whole year. We've basically run out of in-shell. China was flat, and the Middle East had a good month, so they were up as well. The final number that I think we typically look at is new crop sales. Those are still running behind last year. So
it's probably to growers' advantage, possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the buyers, I always said, have to buy before the growers have to sell.
Right, especially if these things are moving off.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the numbers in general, all fantastic. I mean, does something jump out to you on just that month and
No,
the year?
I think shipments are good. I think it, if we're shipping 2.9, that means hopefully the next estimate doesn't come below 2.9 because we don't got enough nuts then.
Right.
That's what that means.
Right. And so then pushing forward, which is probably the more important number, is Monday, 9 a.m., the final estimate is announced.
The objective.
Yeah. Too hard to really put a number on it, right?
I don't think the 3.2 is going to be correct. I would say around, my guess would be 3 billion, give or take 50 million, one way or the other. Okay. And I think the drought has some significant. It's going to affect some people's size, and size, equates to pounds and weight and yada yada yada. So be interesting.
No, and I think if you start to look at that estimate, and let's take what we're saying, you're going to ship 2.9. You're going to have a carry-in that's 600 to 650, which isn't that big all of a sudden, right? When we talk about that stock carry-in,
a little over 20%,
yeah,
22% or something.
So it would be nice for it to be a tiny bit smaller, 100 million, 50 million, something like that. That would definitely be probably better. So looking forward, if you only want to reduce it the next year, and you have a crop of, like you said, 331, you really have very little room to ship more almonds.
Well, if you grow another 20%, that's going to add another.
Ain't going to happen.
It'd be 600 million pounds.
Yeah.
Well, those are all good signs.
Absolutely.
All good signs. And the drought has a lot to do with it, too, I think. If there's another drought, I think you said less, new crop has been sold.
Right.
And according to the people I talked to, like all the guys that are in drought areas, they haven't sold a pound because they don't even know what they're going to produce yet.
Right.
And so that's probably, I guess that's a good thing. It's what's driving up the price.
Hesitant sellers, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Buyers all should be having very, very good sales on the way through, right? A consumer acceptance, super cheap pricing.
It is cheap, still cheap. $2 is still cheap.
Right.
Yeah. Dollars a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the euro? You know the euro?
When I looked, it's hovering around that 118
Still
exchange.
okay.
So yeah,
Not that great, but still good.
yeah, no, for sure. So
Sounds good.
yeah, absolutely. I think this shipment report has just been another sign that we have been pricing these almonds very, very attractively. And really, if we can get any sort of help on this estimate, which I peg at 3.1 or below, I think if it was to be below 3, I think that's a very significant move.
It's below 3, so it changes the world.
Yeah. So I think we can easily handle the 3.1 to 3. Maybe a little more challenging as it approaches the 3.2.
Yeah, but I think even some of the growers are probably looking towards next year like we do, you know?
Yeah.
You know, if there's a drought, I mean, it's going to have significant impact on everybody, you know?
So quick go on what you would expect coming forward. You're going to have harvest maybe a bit early-ish compared to last year.
I think the harvest would be a little bit earlier, not a whole lot. You know, like we took a drive on the west side here a while back, and I was actually surprised how many trees were actually green.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked to a few growers over there that say when you cut the almonds out, they're kind of shriveled. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. I think as you look to the future, I think drought is going to mean a lot. You know, and even in our Chowchilla, people are losing wells, and we're not getting much water. So no drought next year just puts more pressure, like guys on the west side not wanting to sell. So I think that kind of goes in the grower's favor. And when I say grower's favor, it's kind of not because your expenses have just gone through the roof.
Right.
You know, labor's high, your input cost is high. So these prices we're talking about, they actually need to get higher for the grower to even probably break even in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
You know, and some guys aren't. And so I think the almonds will be trending higher next year and probably the year after that because, you know, maybe I don't know if we peak production or not. But,
well, I know there's been in the news recently that some of our competitors, one of our largest ones, is talking like that basically you're really the era of increasing supply is probably behind us, that you're flattening out to maybe even starting to decline.
Well, the only thing I'd argue about that is economics will always drive what people do. So if almonds are $4 a pound, people are going to plant them in areas of probably water-rich areas that aren't going to produce that much. So I don't really know. It might peak for, you know, a few years, but if the price is high enough and the demand's there, people are going to plant more almonds because water is going to go to the highest and best use.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for the short term, that could be. But
Yeah.
It's interesting business. You know, we've been in it a long time. It seems like every time prices get cheap, you know, we don't have reserves no more, which is probably the best thing we've ever done for our industry. And so look how well it works when you don't have reserves. I mean, you get the price cheap enough and you move the product, and the poor individuals that are unable to sustain profits, they go out of business, and the ones that are making money keep on going.
Right.
So it's, you know, I'm glad to see prices move up for all my friends and growers.
Yeah.
So we need it.
Absolutely. Well, let's hope it continues. I think we feel we're positioned well for it to happen. So we probably should wrap this up. It's been Dave and Russ. Thank you.
Adios, amigos.